My beloved child, there are seasons when I do not awaken you with gentleness, but with a very deep shaking within your heart, not to make you panic, but to help you recognize that the old place is no longer spacious enough for what I am preparing. The uneasiness you feel is not always a sign of danger. Many times it is the bell of a changing season, a holy stirring that makes your soul unable to keep sleeping at the edge of what I have called you to step into. Do not be quick to condemn your heart because it trembles, and do not be quick to see your first confusion as proof that you are going the wrong way. When the people of Israel stood before the Red Sea with the enemy behind them and the vast waters before them, every sense they had told them they had been driven into a dead end, yet precisely in the place that seemed to have no way out, I opened a path through the heart of the sea. As it is written, the Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 14:14. Do you see? Sometimes moving forward begins with a moment you do not understand, cannot control, and cannot see in full. Yet I am still there, placing your feet into the rhythm of a miracle. I want you to understand this deeply. I do not lead you into uncertainty in order to test your heart, and then leave you to manage on your own. I am your Father, and my hand never opens away halfway, only to withdraw in silence. When I call you forward, I also go before you to prepare the way, beside you to uphold you, and behind you to protect what you cannot see. There are things you call uncertain, but in my eyes they are lands already marked by promise. There are steps you call too great, but in my plan they are only the first step out of the old cage of limitation. Remember Abraham when I told him to leave his country, his relatives, and his father's house to go to the place I would show him. He did not receive the entire map from the beginning. He received a calling, and that calling was enough for him to step forward. As it is written, by faith Abraham obeyed when he was called to go out to the place he would receive as an inheritance. And he went out not knowing where he was going. Hebrews 11:8. My beloved child, there are holy journeys that do not begin with knowing everything, but with trusting the one who knows all things. Perhaps you are asking, what if I step and make a mistake? What if I obey and I am not strong enough? What if I go and everything does not happen the way I imagined? I hear those questions, and I do not despise your weakness. I know you have been disappointed before, have hoped and then been hurt, have stepped out and been wounded, have believed and yet not seen the result you desired. But my beloved child, do not let old wounds become the counselor of your future. What once hurt you has no authority to write the laws for your new season. I was with you on the day you fell, and I am also with you on the day you rise again. As it is written, though the righteous falls 7 times, they rise again. Proverbs 24:16. That rising does not come from your own strength, but from my grace quietly lifting you. Each time you thought you had no strength left, therefore, breathe deeply in my presence and stop seeing your trembling as an enemy. Let it become a reminder that you are standing at the edge of something holy. Do not turn back simply because the old place is more predictable. Do not remain simply because familiarity makes you feel safe. True safety is not found in everything staying the same, but in the fact that I do not change. Jesus Christ is the same yesterday and today and forever. Hebrews 13:8. When you step into the new, you do not lose your foundation. You carry me with you as your foundation, and when you obey, your eyes will become clearer. When you step, the road will appear. When you give me your yes, even if it is small, I will cause that yes to resound like a key opening doors that have been waiting for you for a long time. My beloved child, today I am not asking you to understand everything, nor am I demanding that you be strong in the way you imagine. I am simply calling you to stop living in the land of almost. Leave the place where you only lightly touch the promise, and then withdraw your hand. Stop saying one day when I am placing right now before you. There are graces given for today. There are strengths that only appear when your feet touch the water. And there are lamps that only burst into light when you are willing to step into the corridor. I am with you in the first step, in the second step, and in all the steps you cannot yet imagine. Move forward, my child, not because you are not afraid, but because my love is greater than your fear. Not because you know the whole road, but because you know the one who is leading you. And when you pass through this door, you will understand that what you once called uneasiness was actually the voice of grace, gently leading you out of the old cycle and into the spacious life I prepared for you long ago. I know there are moments when you look around and think you are trapped, as though every road is closed, every calling has grown distant, and every hope is covered in mist. But my beloved child, dimness does not always mean there is no way forward. Many times you are not stuck. You simply have not yet placed your foot down for the first step. The mist will not always clear before you believe. Often it clears while you are walking. Remember the priests who carried the Ark of the Covenant to the Jordan River. The waters did not part while they stood far away observing. But as soon as the feet of the priests who carried the ark touched the edge of the water, the river stopped flowing, and the people crossed over on dry ground. Joshua 3:50-17. Do you see? There are miracles that do not appear to persuade those who stand outside. They open for those who dare to obey, while the water is still before them. I am not asking you to leap into blindness. I am inviting you to step into trust. And true trust is not that you have already seen every outcome, but that you clearly know the one who is calling your name. There are days when I do not answer you by removing every pressure immediately, but by placing within you a new recognition. You are no longer the one standing in between, no longer a soul suspended between promise and fear, between longing and delay, between the call and hesitation. I am bringing you out of the place of almost, where you almost live fully, almost obey, almost step into your portion of land. That place seems safe because it does not require you to take a risk, but quietly it drains the life out of you. It causes you to see the door without passing through it, to hear the call without answering it, to sense the appointed time and still convince yourself that it is not yet time. But I speak to you today. Your time is no longer a distant vision, waiting at the end of the road. It is standing right before you like an illuminated threshold. As it is written, behold, now is the accepted time. Behold, now is the day of salvation. 2 Corinthians 6:2. There are graces given for today, and today's obedience will open streams that tomorrow cannot replace with regret. I want you to understand that the acceleration I have appointed for you does not come from forcing yourself to run in your own strength. I am not calling you to strain until your soul grows weary, nor am I placing a heavy yoke upon your shoulders that makes you lose the tenderness within. The acceleration that belongs to me is not like the haste of the world. It does not throw you into disorder. It places you into the right flow. When you step out of hidden resistance and come into agreement with my movement, you will realize that things you once tried endlessly to push open now begin to open by grace. Doors that once felt as heavy as stone now turn lightly because the appointed time has come. Connections that once seemed scattered are now being arranged again in holy order, as it is written, not by might nor by power but by my Spirit. Zechariah 4:6. My beloved child, what I am doing in you is not operated by tension, but by union. When you stop wrestling with the calling and begin to agree with me, you will see that strength does not only come to you, but also flows through you. Therefore, my beloved child, rise in obedience, not under the pressure of having to become perfect. Perfection is not what opens the door for you. It is living faith and a heart willing to respond that bring you into my flow. If you wait until there is no trembling left before you step, you will turn fear into the gatekeeper of your destiny. But I have not given fear that authority. I have called you by love, preserved you by grace, and written over your life a story that does not end in hesitation. As it is written, he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. Philippians 1:6. What I have begun in you, I will not leave unfinished. What I have sown in you, I will not forget. What I have spoken over you, I have the power to fulfill. Yet, I invite you to cooperate through today's obedient step. Then, you will look back and realize that many of the things that once held you back were only shadows enlarged by fear. There are walls that only remain standing because you have not yet drawn near. There are chains that are now only echoes of an old season. There are lies that lose their power the moment you come into agreement with my truth. You were not created to live forever in the waiting room of the promise. My beloved child, let this settle deeply into the most hidden place of your soul. You have not yet stepped into the fullness of what I have placed within you. I say this not to shame you, not to cover you with a sense of inadequacy, and not to make you look back on the road behind you with self-blame. I say it is a father bending down before you with eyes full of hope to awaken within you a holy expectation. For if you have not yet lived out all that I have sown into you, then your story is not yet closed. If you have not yet touched the full depth I have placed within your heart, then there are still underground streams waiting to be opened. If the light within you has not yet shone forth completely, then there are still lands that will be illuminated through your obedience. As it is written, the Lord will fulfill his purpose for me. Psalm 138:8. You are not an abandoned work, but a work I am completing with patience, wisdom, and love that never grows weary. There have been seasons when you thought stability was the sign that you had arrived. But I want to teach you to discern the difference between the peace that comes from me and the stability built by the fear of change. True peace does not paralyze your soul. It makes you bold to obey. True peace does not imprison you in what is familiar. It gives you the steadiness to step into what is new. False stability, however, often whispers, "Here is enough. Do not ask for more. Do not go any farther. Do not disturb what is calm." But my beloved child, not everything that is calm is alive. There are stagnant ponds that are very still, yet beneath the surface, there is no longer any flow. I have not called you to become a stagnant place, protected by familiarity. I have called you to become living water, flowing, refreshing, bringing life to dry places. As it is written, "Whoever believes in me, rivers of living water will flow from within them." John 7:38. I did not place within you a dry well for you to keep only for yourself, but a river, so that through you many other souls may also be touched. I am not rushing with you, for my love is never harsh. I know the rhythm of your heart. I know the wounds that have made you cautious. I know the times you hoped and then were disappointed. I know why you sometimes choose this is enough as a way to avoid being hurt again. I do not despise that hesitation. I have seen the seasons when you tried to remain standing, while no one knew how weary you were inside. But my beloved child, healing is not given so that you may merely survive safely. Healing is given so that you may live more fully. I did not restore you so that you would build a wall around yourself and call it peace. I restored you so that you could love more deeply, walk farther, carry a pure influence, and become a witness that my grace does not only rescue a soul from brokenness, but also sends that soul forth in new strength. As it is written, I have come that they may have life and have it more abundantly. John 10:10. That abundance is not only something you possess outwardly, but the fullness of a holy identity awakened within you. If you dare to let go of the thought that you have reached your final limit, you will begin to see doors you did not recognize before, not because they have appeared entirely for the first time, but because your eyes have been freed from small acceptance. There are promises I have placed closer to you than you realize. There are depths of prayer you have not yet touched, capacities for love you have not yet stepped into, words of wisdom you have not yet dared to speak, people you have not yet dared to lift up, and spheres of influence you have not yet dared to steward. I am not telling you to become ambitious in the way of the world, but I am calling you to step out of self-limitation disguised as safety. As it is written, open your mouth wide, and I will fill it. Psalm 81:10. There are forms of fullness that only come when you are willing to enlarge your capacity. There are gifts that cannot be poured into a vessel you keep trying to make small because you fear the responsibility that comes with blessing. Therefore, let your heart become tender again before my call. Do not see the more that remains as a burden. See it as evidence that I still trust you, still invite you to walk with me, and still open deeper layers of grace before you. Please know that every seed you plant in this mission will grow into a torch that shines in someone else's darkness. Giving to this work through the link in the description or the pinned comment, whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our Ko-Fi community, does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. Heaven moves through willing voices, but it grows through hearts that are kind. This is what I say over you now. Each gift you give is like a stream of living water that flows into the life of someone who needs healing. Give, and it will be given to you is not just a verse for Jesus. It is a living promise that shapes your future. Allow me to invite you now with a simple act of faith. Come into this moment with purpose, with honesty, and with hope. The money you give today is not a donation. The act of spiritual obedience that lets your heavens open is what opens them. Let go of your seed and see what God brings back into your life. I do not drive you forward with the whip of condemnation. I draw you with cords of love. I do not stand far away to judge every slow step you take. I walk near to lift you as you learn to move more quickly in obedience. What you call enough may only be the first step of what I desire to do through you. What you call fine may only be a pause before a wider corridor. What you call I do not need more may only be the voice of a heart that has grown weary, a heart that has not yet dared to believe that the next blessing will not break it, but will cause it to expand in the light. My beloved child, listen to this word with a heart that does not condemn itself, but also no longer hides. Not every delay comes from my arrangement. There are times when I tell you to wait, because I am preparing the foundation, healing the depths, arranging circumstances, and protecting you from things you cannot yet see. But there are also times when you call your hesitation waiting on me, when in truth I have already spoken, already opened the way, already placed enough light beneath your feet, and I'm inviting you to step into obedience. My beloved child, I do not say this to wound you, but to free you from the most subtle cage of fear, the cage called not yet the right time. When an invitation from me has ripened within your heart, when deep peace continues to quietly draw you forward, even though your emotions still tremble, when what you need is no longer another sign, but greater courage, then delay is no longer caution. It becomes a gentle, quiet resistance, difficult to recognize, yet strong enough to keep you standing outside of what I have appointed. I know what you have not spoken aloud. I know that behind the reasons that sound reasonable, there is a very small, yet very deep question. What if I step forward and fail? What if I have misunderstood? What if I am not mature enough, not strong enough, not prepared enough? I do not belittle that fear, for I know you have stumbled before, been wounded by hasty decisions, and regretted the times you placed your trust in places that were not firm. But you must discern the difference. Obedience is not recklessness, and trust is not blindness. Obedience is when you walk according to the light I have given, even though that light has not yet illuminated the entire road. Trust is when you do not hold every outcome firmly in your hands, but you hold firmly to the hand of the one who is leading you. As it is written, your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. Psalm 119 and 105. That lamp often gives enough light for the next step, not so that you may control the whole journey, but so that you may learn to live close to me in every rhythm, every day, and every decision. Perhaps you are still waiting for a perfect moment to appear outwardly. Every door open, every person in agreement, every emotion stable, every risk gone, every question answered clearly. But, beloved child, many times what you call the perfect moment is only an image built by fear, so that you will not have to step forward. A holy moment is not always the moment when circumstances are no longer challenging. A holy moment is often the instant when your heart hears my voice and chooses to respond. Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. Isaiah 41:10 is not a word spoken to someone who has escaped every battle, but a word I place into the hand of the one who must walk right in the midst of battle. Your assurance is not found in everything being complete, but in the fact that I do not leave you in the process. You are not safe because you know everything. You are safe because I know everything. You are not steady because you are incapable of making mistakes. You are steady because if your heart is truly turned toward me, I have to correct, uphold, teach, and cause even clumsy steps to become a school of grace. The parable of the talents also speaks to you of something deeper than you may realize. The servant who was entrusted with the least was not rebuked, because he did not have as much as the others, nor was he condemned because his ability was small. What caused him to lose his portion was not his initial limitation, but the fact that he allowed fear to govern the way. He stewarded what he had received. He hid the talent in the ground, then justified his immobility by his fear of his master. But in the eyes of the master, that kind of safety was not wisdom, it was unfaithfulness. As it is written, the master called him a wicked and lazy servant, Matthew 25:26. Not because he lacked opportunity, but because he refused to put into motion what had been entrusted to him. Beloved child, I do not measure you by the amount I have placed in your hands compared with someone else. I look to see whether you are faithful with your own portion. A small seed, if sown into the ground, can become a tree. But if it is held forever in the palm of the hand out of fear of losing it, it will never bear fruit. Do not allow fear to dress itself in reason and enter your heart as though it were a trustworthy counselor. It may speak with a very cautious voice. Wait for one more sign. Wait until you are more certain. Prepare a little more. Let everything become completely clear before you begin. But look carefully at the fruit of that counsel. If it makes your heart increasingly peaceful, pure, ready, and nearer to me, then it may be wholly waiting. But if it causes you to shrink more and more, to grow wary, to avoid, to lose your fire, to fear responsibility, and to repeat the same cycle of thoughts again and again, then it is not wisdom. It is delay decorated with reasonable words. As it is written, whoever watches the wind will not plant. Whoever looks at the clouds will not reap. Ecclesiastes 11:34. The one who waits only for perfect conditions will miss the season of sowing, and afterward will call the empty season destiny. But I have not called you into emptiness. I have called you into living partnership with grace. My beloved child, what I have placed within you was not given to remain still until you feel completely reassured. Gifts do not mature in hiding. A calling does not shine when it is endlessly delayed. A seed does not become a harvest if you only cradle it in fear and never sow it into the ground. I have entrusted you with light, discernment, experience, wounds that have been healed, tears that have been turned into wisdom, the moments when you rose again after stumbling, and promises that held you through the darkest nights. All of these things were not given so that you would gather them into a sacred memory and keep them hidden away, but so that you would bring them into motion by faith. Someone needs what you have learned. A door is waiting for your obedience. There is a portion of land that will not open through more thinking, but through the first step. Therefore, today I am calling you out of the room of hesitation. Rise, not because every fear has disappeared, but because I am greater than that fear. Begin, not because you have mastered everything, but because faithfulness is revealed through the one who dares to operate in the portion entrusted to them. Step forward, not to prove that you are strong, but to prove that you trust me as the one who is with you. And when you step, you will realize that what you once called not enough was often only the veil of fear. What you once called not the right time was often only hesitation, unwilling to release control. I have opened enough for you to begin. I have given enough light for you to see the next step. I have drawn near enough that you can no longer say you are alone. Now give me your yes through action, and you will see that grace does not only uphold those who wait, but also gives wings to those who dare to walk in trust. I want you to understand that being made new is not merely a beautiful phrase for you to comfort yourself with on weary nights. It is a spiritual reality established by my power. As it is written, therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new. 2 Corinthians 5:17. But beloved child, that reality must be received by you, must be clothed upon you, must be allowed to enter the way you see yourself, the way you make decisions, and the way you stand before the doors I open. If you still look at yourself through the old mirror, you will see a distorted image, a soul restored by me, yet still living as one rejected, a person forgiven, yet still walking as though condemned, a person called, yet still hiding at the edge, because they believe they are not holy enough to enter. I do not want you to know the truth only as a doctrine. I want that truth to become breath within you, ground beneath your feet, and light in your eyes each time you face yourself. Let me remove the old lens from your eyes. It has caused you to see opportunity as danger, calling as burden, elevation as something not meant for you, and your own healed heart as though it were still under condemnation. You are no longer defined by the place where you fell. You are defined by the hand that lifted you up. You are no longer the echo of the words that once wounded you. You are a witness of the word I have spoken. You are no longer a prisoner of memory. You are my beloved child, redeemed, made new, taught, guided, and sent forth. And when you begin to act according to your new identity, it will no longer be only something you hear within your heart. It will become the rhythm of your life, your posture, your words, your choices, and the path beneath your feet. There are old things that are very subtle. They do not always appear as obvious enemies. They do not always pull you away from prayer. And they do not always make you rebel or turn your back on me. Many times, they simply whisper a very small sentence within you. That promise may be true, but surely it is not meant for me. And with only that one sentence, you continue to believe that I am powerful. You continue to believe that I am good. You continue to believe that I can do great things, yet you place yourself outside the portion I desire to give you. You pray, but you do not dare to receive. You hear the calling, but you do not dare to rise. You see the light, but you still think you belong to the shadows. This is a very subtle deception. It does not destroy your faith in me, but it makes you doubt the very identity I have created in you. It causes you to bow your head before the past, while your lips still confess the present reality of grace. It causes you to live like someone standing outside the door, even though I have already opened the door and called your name from within. I am not telling you to forget the past completely, as though it never happened. I am not asking you to deny the lessons that have made you mature. I simply will not allow the past to take the throne. There are memories that will become testimony if you allow me to heal them. There are wounds that will become wells of compassion if you allow me to sanctify them. There are failures that will become wisdom if you do not turn them into chains. You can learn from what is past without having to live under its authority. You can remember without being imprisoned. You can carry scars as evidence that you have been healed, not as a sign declaring that you are still defeated. I am the one who turns ashes into a crown of beauty, mourning into the oil of joy, and the garment of heaviness into the garment of praise, as it is written in Isaiah 61:103. What you thought was an ending in my hands can become the beginning of an identity restored more deeply than before. From today on, learn to see yourself through my eyes. Do not ask your wound who you are. Do not ask failure whether you are allowed to move forward. Do not ask old rejections whether you have value. Ask me and I will remind you you are loved, redeemed, called, made new, led, trained, and sent forth. When you act according to your new identity, you may still tremble at first, but the truth will grow greater within you. Gideon did not feel like a mighty warrior before he stepped forward. He stepped according to my word. And then that identity gradually became visible through his actions. You are the same. Do not wait for your emotions to completely catch up before you live according to the truth. Walk in the truth, and your emotions will be retrained by faith. Choose according to my word, and old thoughts will gradually lose their power to rule. Agree with the way I call you, and you will see the shadow of the past shrink before the light of grace. My beloved child, the past may speak, but it has no right to judge. It may recount one chapter, but it does not get to write the whole book. I am the author, and I have not placed the final period upon your life. The old things have passed away, not because you are strong enough to erase them, but because I am powerful enough to make you new. So rise from the seat of self-doubt. Remove the garment called unworthy. Step out of the small room where you still shrink back, even though I've opened a wide field before you. You are not what happened to you. You are not the echo of yesterday. You are what I have spoken in love, the one I am forming in grace, a living witness that when I call a soul new, all of heaven stands behind that word. And my word over you will not return empty. It will accomplish what I desire until the holy identity I have placed within you is revealed in radiant fullness before the very lands I prepared for you long ago. I am calling you out of a survival mindset and into the mindset of sonship. The one who lives in survival always asks, how can I avoid losing? But the one who lives as a child asks, Father, where are you leading me? The survivor counts every remaining fragment of peace. The child sits at the table already prepared in the Father's house. The survivor lives defensively. The child lives in belonging. As it is written of the prodigal son, when he returned in shame, the father did not make him stand outside like a hired servant, but put the best robe on him, placed a ring on his hand, sandals on his feet, and held a feast of rejoicing. Luke 15:22-24. Do you see? The Father's love does not only forgive, it restores position. I do not want you to return to me and still live like someone standing outside the door, afraid of taking up too much space, afraid of receiving too much grace, afraid of being unworthy of joy. You are a child, not a survivor wandering around the table of grace. From today on, let me teach you to change the way you operate. When you feel weary, do not only ask, how can I keep trying harder? Ask instead, where did I step out of the flow? When you feel yourself shrinking back, do not merely say, I am being careful. Ask, am I making this decision from the fear of loss? When you find yourself clinging tightly to what is familiar, do not be quick to call it peace. Bring it before me and let the light discern it. For I do not lead you by force, but by truth that sets you free. I do not snatch from your hands the things you are afraid to lose. I place before your eyes the riches of my presence, until you trust me enough to open your hands And when you open your hands, you will realize that you have not become poorer, you have become freer. My beloved child, your strength has not run out. The flow only needs to be cleared. The life within you has not gone out. It has only been covered for too long by layers of self-protection. Today, I invite you to return to the source, to leave the rhythm of striving, to leave the narrow house of survival, to leave the fear disguised as stability. Let me teach you to rest without guilt, to step forward without needing to control every outcome, to receive without fearing debt, to give without fearing depletion, and to live spaciously while still remaining at peace. You were not created merely to survive day by day. You were created to carry my life, to walk in grace, to stand in freedom, to become a river and not a vessel always afraid of being emptied. Come to me, and I will give you rest. Abide in me, and new strength will flow. Live as one who is free, for the chains have already broken. The door has already opened, and I am calling you not only out of Egypt, but into the spacious land of abundant life in me. My beloved child, I know there is a longing within you that you have laid down many times, not because it has died, but because you were afraid it would be misunderstood. There are things I have sown in you that have been stirring for a very long time, like a quiet call beneath the ground, like a spring covered by stone, like a small flame still burning, even through many seasons, when you tried to hide it so no one would see. You fear that if you admit your heart still desires to go farther, others will call it ambition. You fear that if you say you sense something greater is waiting, people will think you are proud. You fear that if you are no longer satisfied with the old mold, you will be seen as someone who is ungrateful. But my beloved child, discern this clearly. There is one kind of ambition born from the ego that wants to exalt itself. But there is also a holy longing born from the seed I have placed within you. One wants to be seen in order to build a throne for itself. The other wants to be revealed so that my life may flow through you. I did not place a wide sky within you only to tell you to live, as though you were allowed only to look down at the ground. I did not open depth within your soul so that you would keep forcing yourself into the narrowness of fear. There are people who think humility means always making themselves smaller, always denying the good thing I have sown, always saying they cannot, are not worthy, and should not go farther. As this awakening grows inside you, know that helping with this mission is not a joke, it is a sign from God. You can support this work through the link in the description or the pinned comment, whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our Ko-Fi community. By doing so, you become part of Jesus' plan to save souls who are still stuck in fog. Every seed turns into light that fights against darkness. If you water others, you will be watered yourself, Jesus says. This is not history, it is a living promise about your future. Come into this moment with faith and a plan. What God has already planned for your life can be unlocked through your giving. But I want you to understand that true humility does not belittle my work within you. True humility recognizes the source of all things and stewards what has been entrusted in holy reverence. When I say, open your mouth wide and I will fill it, Psalm 81:10, I am not teaching you greedy desire, but calling you into greater capacity. A mouth that does not open cannot receive. A vessel that is not enlarged cannot contain. A heart that does not dare to expect will see abundance as something foreign. You do not honor me by continually shrinking the gift I have given. You honor me when you allow that gift to be purified, to grow, to operate according to its proper purpose, and to become a stream of blessing for those I will place along your path. I have seen the times you told yourself, "This is enough." Sometimes that sentence comes from genuine gratitude, and I rejoice when you know how to cherish what you have. But sometimes that sentence is no longer gratitude. It becomes a wall painted in the color of morality, hiding the fear of stepping into something wider. You call it contentment, but inside it is avoidance. You call it stability, but inside it is shrinking back. You call it not wanting to ask for more, but inside it is the fear that if you open your heart to something greater, you will be challenged, misunderstood, disappointed, or required to carry greater responsibility. Beloved child, contentment in me never kills obedience. The truly content can still move forward when I call. The truly grateful can still expand when I open the door. The truly humble can still carry more, as long as their heart remains near to me. Therefore, do not be afraid of desire that has been sanctified by me. Do not extinguish it simply because it makes you face greater responsibility. Do not call every longing for expansion fleshly, when I myself may be the one stirring greater capacity within you. If you sense that more is still waiting, bring it before me. Do not bury it in the ground. I will help you discern what comes from competition and what comes from calling, what wants to build its own name and what wants to glorify mine, what forces you to run in weariness and what places you into the flow of grace. As it is written, commit your way to the Lord, and He will do it. Psalm 30:75. When you entrust your longing to me, it is no longer a wild flame. It becomes fire upon the altar, guarded by my presence. I did not create you merely to exist at a fixed level, as though spiritual life were a small room where you must stand still in order to be considered safe. I created you to grow in life, from faith to faith, from glory to glory, from being healed to becoming one who brings healing, from being upheld to becoming a hand that upholds others. As it is written, we all are being transformed into His image from glory to glory. 2 Corinthians 3:18. You have not yet lived out all that I have written within you. And that word is not the lash of condemnation. It is the voice of hope. It means there are still depths you have not explored, gifts that have not fully opened, words of wisdom that have not yet been spoken, spheres of influence that have not yet been touched, and doors you have not yet walked through. I am not telling you to hurry. I am telling you to stay awake. I am not telling you to be greedy. I am telling you not to bury what is holy because you fear the light. But as soon as you begin to recognize this, I also know another voice will rise within you, softer, more reasonable, sounding wiser than raw fear. It does not say, never step forward. It only says, wait a little longer. Wait for another sign, another confirmation, another feeling of certainty, another favorable circumstance, another person's agreement, another piece of evidence that you will not fail. That voice is dangerous because it wears the garment of caution. It makes you feel as though you are honoring the timing, while deep underneath, you are delaying obedience. I am not against holy waiting. There are seasons when I say, be still, remain. Let me prepare you. But there are also seasons when I have given enough light for the first step, and what you call waiting longer is no longer wisdom, but fear trying to extend its power. My beloved child, if I have spoken, You do not need to turn confirmation into a cradle where you keep sleeping. Signs are given to lead you into obedience, not to replace obedience. Light is given so that you may walk, not so that you may sit forever analyzing beneath the lamp. As it is written, the lamp of the body is the eye. If therefore your eye is good, your whole body will be full of light. Matthew 6:22. When your eye is clear, you will discern what is waiting with peace, and what is hesitation with fear. Waiting that comes from me makes you deeper, steadier, more loving, and pure. Delay born from fear makes you shrink back, grow weary, repeat the same patterns, doubt, and lose your fire. Look at its fruit, and you will know its root. Remember the people of Israel. When they stood before the promised land, they had seen my power in Egypt, seen the sea part, seen bread from heaven, seen water from the rock. Yet when they heard the report about the giants, they said they were like grasshoppers in their own eyes. They did not lack signs. They lacked agreement with my word concerning who they were. And because fear was called caution, an entire generation wandered around the wilderness instead of entering the land that had been promised. Beloved child, I do not want you to circle around a promise simply because you are still waiting for the feeling of fearlessness. Courage is not the absence of trembling. Courage is obeying when my word becomes louder than your trembling. Faith is not the inability to see the challenge. Faith is seeing me higher than the challenge. So today, I call you to enlarge your heart without losing holiness, to awaken from the phrase, "This is enough," without falling into dissatisfaction, to acknowledge holy desire without allowing the ego to rule, and to step beyond the voice that says, "Wait a little longer." When you know, I have given enough light for the first step, bring your longing to me, so that I may wash it clean of fear, comparison, and the need to prove yourself. Then I will return it to you like a torch. You were not created to maintain a life smaller than what I have written. You were created to carry my glory, as it spreads not through the noise of the flesh, but through the radiance of a soul that has been healed, sent forth, and placed in the right flow. Step forward, my beloved child, not because every question has disappeared, but because I am with you. Not because you know the whole journey, but because I have called you by name. And when you step, you will realize that what you once suppressed was not the enemy of humility, but the echo of holy design, leading you into the manifestation I prepared for you long ago. My beloved child, stand upright within your soul, not with the hardness of the flesh, but with the steadiness of one who knows that the Father is calling them back to their true identity. I am touching a place deeper than passing thoughts, deeper than emotions that rise and fall with each day, deeper even than the words you often use to explain yourself. I am touching the way you learned to survive after seasons of wounding, the way you quietly drew back when you were unsure of what was coming, the way you held on to each fragment of hope, like someone afraid that if they opened their hands, everything left would disappear. I see how cautious you have become to the point that many times you no longer know whether it is wisdom or fear. I see how you call defensiveness self-protection, shrinking back stability, and avoidance maturity. But today, with a love that does not avoid the truth, I speak to you. That is not your nature. It is the trace of a survival mindset that has remained for too long. My beloved child, survival may once have been the garment you wore in a stormy season, but it is not the clothing I intended for you to wear for the rest of your life. There were stages when you had to learn how to hold yourself together so you would not break apart, had to remain silent so you would not be wounded further, had to lower your expectations so you would not collapse under disappointment. I do not despise those days. I was there when you did not know how to name the pain. I saw you trying to be strong while inside you were already exhausted. I carried you through nights when you thought you no longer had the strength to continue. But what once helped you pass through a season must not be allowed to become the law of your entire journey. A crutch may be necessary when your leg is wounded, but if you keep holding on to it after I have healed you, it will make you forget how to walk in freedom, as it is written, "It is for freedom that Christ has set us free." Stand firm, then, and do not let yourselves be burdened again by a yoke of slavery. Galatians 5:21. You have been called out from under a heavy yoke, not so that you would build another yoke out of a more subtle fear. There is a very great difference between wisdom and a defensive mindset. The wisdom that comes from me will make your eyes clearer, your heart more peaceful, your steps steadier, and will teach you when to move forward, when to stop, when to speak, and when to remain silent. But a defensive mindset is different. It always makes you prepare for loss, always causes you to suspect blessing, always tells you to hold back a part of yourself, so that if pain comes, you will not hurt too deeply. It tells you not to expect too much, not to love deeply, not to go far, not to expand, not to trust too much, not to give your whole heart. And little by little, you no longer live under my guidance, but under the calculations of old wounds. As it is written, "The Lord is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble." Psalm 46:1. If I am your refuge, you do not need to turn yourself into a cold fortress, so that no one can ever touch you again. I want you to recognize that each time you hold yourself back for too long, you are not only avoiding pain, you are also avoiding life. You hold back your strength, and then that strength is not used to bear fruit. You hold back your dreams, and then those dreams are no longer touched by the light. You hold back your voice, and then the wisdom I placed within you cannot reach the one who needs to hear it. You hold back your love, and then your heart begins to dry up because it was not created merely to protect itself. Beloved child, life was not given to be sealed away in fear. If a seed remains forever in the storehouse, it may seem safe, but it will never become a harvest. If oil is kept forever in the vessel, it cannot anoint anyone. If light is kept covered, it cannot illuminate the path for souls who are lost. I did not create you merely to avoid loss. I created you to carry my life through the very places you once feared to enter. Remember the people of Israel after they had left Egypt. Their bodies had come out of the land of slavery, but within their hearts the voice of chains still remained. When the wilderness became difficult, they remembered the old pots of meat and wanted to return to the very place that had once oppressed them. As it is written in Exodus 6:7-1, do you see a person can be outwardly delivered and still need to be delivered inwardly? I opened the sea for them, but they still had to learn to trust me in each day of manna. I broke the power of Pharaoh, but they still had to allow me to break the slave mentality within them. You are the same. I have carried you through many things. I have rescued you from places that once held you captive. But if you continue to decide as someone who is always afraid of lack, always afraid of being abandoned, always afraid of not having enough. Then you will carry Egypt into the very new doors I open for you. I do not only want to bring you out of the old place. I want to take the old place out of the way you see life. I did not place within you the flow of one who is always looking for a hiding place. I placed within you the flow of one who is sent forth, one who opens the way, one who carries light, one who rises not because they are confident in the flesh, but because they know they belong to me. As it is written, the righteous are as bold as a young lion. Proverbs 28:1. That boldness is not noise, not recklessness, not a refusal to listen to counsel. It is the steadiness of a soul that has stopped allowing fear to rule. It is the posture of one who knows who their Father is. It is when you no longer need to shrink before everything uncertain, because you understand that the greatest certainty is not found in circumstances, but in my presence. You do not need to know every detail in order to walk in obedience. You need to know that I am the one who goes before you, stays with you, and will not abandon you halfway. Therefore, today I invite you to lay down the survival mindset, not to lay down wisdom, not to abandon discernment, not to live carelessly, but to release the defensiveness that has taken the place of faith. Let me teach you to open your hands without fearing that you will lose everything. To open your heart without fearing that you will be broken. To open your mouth without fearing that your voice has no value. To take a step without fearing that every mistake will destroy your future. I am not calling you to step out as someone without wounds. I am calling you to step out as one whom I have healed in part, and I'm still healing along the way. As it is written, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. 2 Corinthians 3:17. That freedom is not only deliverance from what binds you outwardly, but deliverance from the inward way of life that is always on guard. My beloved child, stop living as though your peace is so fragile that it will shatter the moment you step out. The peace I give is not a glass vessel placed on the edge of a table. The peace I give is a deep river that does not run dry, a rock beneath the feet of the one who trusts. Stop holding back your dreams because you fear they will be tested. Stop hiding the light because you fear it will attract darkness. Stop calling smallness safety when I'm calling you into spaciousness. You are not a fugitive. You are my child. You are not someone living on the leftover fragments. You are one invited to the full table of grace. You are not a trembling soul, merely trying not to lose more. You are one restored to open the way, to rise, to step out, and to carry within you a life that darkness cannot swallow. From now on, when uncertainty appears, do not be quick to shrink back. Pause in me. Breathe in my presence and ask, Father, is this wisdom or is this an old fear speaking? I will teach you to discern. I will show you when to rest and when to step. I will show you when to hold on and when to open your hand. But I will not allow you to confuse abundant life with narrow survival. I have written within you an identity that does not belong to chains. I have placed within you a flow that does not belong to stagnant waters. I have called you by a name that does not belong to Egypt, does not belong to lack, and does not belong to the days when you had to protect yourself just to survive. Stand upright within your soul. My beloved child, the door is open, the river is flowing, and I am calling you out of the illusion of survival to live as one who is righteous, bold, free, and full of life in me. My beloved child, Now I am leading you into a deeper recognition, not a new name for you to carry on your lips, nor a title for you to place upon your shoulders like a spiritual ornament, but an identity being awakened in the hidden place of your soul. You carry within you a bursting glory, but you must understand this with purity, with humility, and with eyes that I have cleansed from every worldly way of seeing. This glory is not noise for you to draw attention to yourself, not a spotlight for you to take the stage, not a display so that others must look at you. The glory I have placed within you is a weighty presence, the fragrance of heaven, a quiet light that cannot be hidden, the life of mine moving through a soul that has stopped running from the very thing I have kindled. As it is written, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord has risen upon you." Isaiah 60:1. Do you see? I do not tell you to rise so that you may show yourself off. I tell you to rise because the light has come, because what belongs to me desires to be revealed through you to the places still covered in darkness. There are people who misunderstand spiritual bursting forth, thinking it means loud strength, that one must speak more, do bigger things, appear more prominently, and draw more attention. But my beloved child, in my kingdom, there are eruptions that happen in the depths before they ever appear outwardly. A seed breaking open in the soil does not create an echo for human ears to hear, but that very breaking open begins an entire season of growth. The widow's jar of oil in the days of Elisha did not make noise in the marketplace, but when she obeyed by bringing empty vessels into her house, shutting the door, and pouring out the oil continued to flow until every vessel was filled. 2 Kings 4:17. Listen to that story with your soul. Abundance does not begin with the crowd, but with hidden obedience. The oil did not flow so that the woman could become the center, but so the debt could be paid, the family could be saved, and the future could be opened. In the same way, the oil I have placed within you is not meant to feed the ego, but to set free, illuminate, heal, and open the way. I am kindling fire upon that oil within you, not the fire of destruction, but the fire of illumination, not the fire that burns you out through pressure, but the fire that makes what belongs to me, and you become clear, warm, alive, and able to spread. You have feared this fire before, because you thought that if you burst forth, you would lose control. If you stepped into radiance, you would be misunderstood. If you allowed my presence within you to spread, others would feel overshadowed. But I say to you, true light does not shame the darkness. It simply shows people the way out. A true lamp does not compete with another lamp. It makes the room brighter. As it is written, nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a stand, and it gives light to all in the house. Matthew 5:15. I did not light you so that you would take anyone's place. I lit you so that life would have another doorway through which to enter the world. When you enter a place with my presence freely moving within you, the atmosphere will change. Not because you are trying to make an impression, but because heaven goes with you. There will be words you speak that carry weight beyond sound. Not because you are eloquent, but because those words have been forged in truth, in prayer, in tears, and in the seasons where I trained you quietly. There will be times when you are silent and peace still radiates, because that silence is not empty, it is full of presence. Remember Moses when he came down from the mountain. After being in my presence, his face shone. Though he himself did not know it, Exodus 34:129. That is glory that does not advertise itself. That is light that does not need to explain itself. That is the mark of one who has stayed near me long enough for what belongs to me to remain upon them. Beloved child, I am teaching you to live the same way, not trying to shine, but staying near me until light becomes the natural fruit of communion. Therefore, do not shrink what I am kindling within you just to feel safe in the eyes of others. There is a very narrow kind of safety. It makes you less noticed, less misunderstood, less demanded of, but it also causes the flow within you to become blocked. You already know that feeling when the word that needs to be spoken is held back too long, when the gift that needs to operate is buried because of fear of being wrong, when the love that needs to be given is locked away because of fear of being wounded, when the light that needs to shine is covered because you do not want anyone to think you are too much. But, my beloved child, what is suppressed for too long does not disappear. It becomes pressure within. A river that is blocked will create heaviness. Oil that is not poured out will not fulfill its purpose. Light that is kept covered will cause the very room inside you to become suffocating. I do not want you to return to the blocked flow you once endured. I want you to allow my life to flow through you in a way that is pure, ordered, full of grace, and full of power. My beloved child, when you burst forth in my glory, you will not overshadow others. You will awaken what I have placed within them. Pure light does not make other lamps afraid. It reminds them that they too were created to burn. True presence does not seize space. It opens space for life to move. When you walk in this identity, you will not need to force others to acknowledge you. You will not need to compete, prove yourself, compare, or control. My glory within you will carry the quality of spaciousness. It lifts up. It invites. It heals. It causes the weak to become stronger, the lost to see the way more clearly, and those whose fire has gone out to remember that there is still oil within them. As it is written, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. You do not need to fear the darkness when the light within you belongs to me. Therefore, stop asking fear for permission to shine. Stop lowering yourself to a level that makes others comfortable, if that lowering requires you to betray what I am kindling within you. I am not telling you to lack sensitivity. I'm not telling you to walk in arrogance, and I am not telling you to ignore wisdom. I am teaching you humility with fire, gentleness with authority, presence with weight, and bursting forth with order. You can shine brightly and still remain tender. You can be strong and still know how to listen. You can carry glory and still bow your head before me. You can become a channel without ever forgetting that you are not the source. This is the maturity I am building within you, not running from the light and not worshiping the light as though it were your own, but allowing the light to pass through you and return to me. Today, I am calling you to open the inner valves that have been shut for too long. Let my word flow through your words. Let my love flow through your presence. Let my wisdom touch the way you enter rooms, conversation, doors, responsibilities, and new territories. Do not fear this bursting forth, for it has not come to make you lose control. It has come to bring you into the right flow. When a river flows within the riverbed I have appointed, it does not destroy, it waters and refreshes. When fire burns upon the altar, it does not burn down the house. It lifts a pleasing fragrance before me. when glory is in its proper place. It does not make you an idol, it makes you a witness, and you, my beloved child, are called to become such a living witness. Stand up in the light I have placed upon you. Do not hide because you fear being seen, and do not display yourself because you want to be seen. Simply remain in me, and let what belongs to me reveal itself through your life. You do not need to make yourself burst forth by your own strength. I am the one who sets fire to the oil. You do not need to create glory for yourself. I am the one who places glory upon you. Your part is to stop holding back, stop shrinking, stop hiding, and stop calling a blocked flow safety. Let me spread through you like dawn spreading over the mountains, like the fragrance of precious oil filling the whole house, like living water flowing into dry places. And when you allow this to happen, you will realize that this bursting forth does not take you farther from me, it brings you nearer to me. Because true glory always returns to the source. You do not lose yourself in this flow. You rediscover the holy identity I wrote within you from the beginning, the identity of one who carries light, carries life, carries presence, and walks as a vessel set aflame, so that my glory may touch the places where I send you. My beloved, listen to me not with your ears, but from the deepest place within your soul, the place where truth is not obscured by fear or by the shadows of old memories. I am leading you to a threshold that not everyone perceives, a moment not measured by human clocks, but appointed by the fullness of my divine design. There have been seasons in your life when everything seemed like trial upon trial, as though a fire burned without ceasing. Yet now, that very fire is no longer meant to destroy, but to refine, to reveal the preciousness I placed within you from the beginning. As it is written, he will sit as a refiner and purifier of silver, Malachi 3:7-3, and you are no longer raw metal. You are being formed into a vessel set apart for glory. You may not have realized it, but every moment you thought you were falling was, in truth, a moment I was realigning what had been misdirected within your soul. What you have called delay has been my careful rearrangement, ensuring that you would not step outside of the appointed time, for my timing is never late, nor does it come before you are able to carry what it brings. This is the moment when the heavens are no longer silent. This is the hour when the word is released. As it is written, to everything there is a season, and a time for every purpose under heaven, Ecclesiastes 3:1. And your appointed hour has now begun to move. Understand this. My child, I did not draw you out of darkness, only for you to return to your former ways. I did not lead you through harsh seasons, so that you would continue to live within the small confines you once knew. What I am doing is not a surface repair, but a transformation of your very foundation. You once lived as one striving merely to endure each day, as though every resource were depleted. But I declare to you, that season has come to an end. As it is written, I have come that they may have life and have it abundantly. John 10:10. You are no longer defined by lack, but by the abundance that flows from me. There is a story you must remember, the story of the widow in the time of the prophet Elisha. She possessed only a small jar of oil, so little that it seemed insufficient even for a single day. Yet when she obeyed my instruction and poured that oil into the empty vessels she had gathered, it continued to flow until there was no vessel left to receive it. The miracle did not begin with abundance, but with obedience within limitation. And when obedience aligns with my appointed time, limitation ceases to remain limitation. You are about to enter your divine future. Remember that this message does not end with you. People can use your breakthrough to get where they need to go. Through the link in the description or the pinned comment, whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our Ko-Fi community, you can help this mission. By doing so, you are sowing into the awakening, deliverance, and restoration of souls who are still trapped in darkness. This is not poetry when Jesus says, "Give, and heaven will open over you." Every seed you plant turns into oil for your destiny, fire for your calling, and safety for your family. Now is your time, my child. Have faith, and as you do, watch God multiply what you let go of. So it is with you. The very thing you hold, though it appears small in your eyes, is the seed for the multiplication I have already ordained. Therefore, do not continue to live with the mindset of one who fears loss. That fear no longer belongs to you. I have not called you to shrink back, but to expand. I have not placed you in this world to remain hidden, but to reflect my light. As it is written, you are the light of the world. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a stand. Matthew 5:14-15. The light within you is not meant to be concealed, but to shine forth. The identity I formed within you is not meant to be suppressed, but to be revealed. You may still carry remnants of old patterns, limiting thoughts, defensive reactions, unresolved anxieties, but you must understand this. When I lift you into a new dimension, the old cannot go with you. Not because I reject you, but because I am preserving what I have placed within you. As it is written, no one pours new wine into old wineskins. Luke 5:37. You are becoming a new vessel prepared to contain what is new. And now, you are moving within my current, not by your own strength, but by my power at work within you. Your body, your mind, your soul, all are being drawn into a new rhythm, a rhythm no longer governed by pressure, but by my presence. As it is written, not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit. Zechariah 4:6. You do not need to strive to enter what I have already opened. You only need to yield. Therefore, my beloved, release what no longer aligns with where I am leading you. Lift your head not in pride, but in the awareness that you have been chosen to step into this appointed moment. This is not the result of your own effort, but of my grace. And as you walk in that truth, you will come to realize that what you once thought was a goal to attain was, in fact, a place I had already ordained to bring you into. Move forward not with anxiety, but with conviction. For I do not merely go before you, I am within you, working all things to complete what I have begun. And as it is written, he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Jesus Christ. Philippians 1:6. You are no longer at the beginning. You are in the moment of fulfillment, the moment when what was unseen begins to emerge, and what was promised starts to take form in your very life. My beloved, there are images I do not choose at random, but place with intention to imprint deeply within your understanding. When I speak of an intersection or a closed circle, I am revealing to you a spiritual principle. There are moments when everything I have sown, everything you have endured, and everything I have ordained converge into a single irreversible point. It is not a linear progression, but a divine convergence. As it is written, the end of a matter is better than its beginning. Ecclesiastes 7:8. Because when the appointed time arrives, What has long been prepared will erupt in a single moment. You are standing within that convergence, where the years you thought were delays were, in truth, a silent foundation. Look at the story of Joseph, a man cast into a pit, sold and forgotten in a prison. Yet, when my time came, no one could hinder his steps into the palace, not because he ran faster, but because my appointed hour had opened. As it is written, God sent me before you to preserve life. Genesis 45. Do you see? What you have called darkness was merely a corridor leading to the place I had prepared. And remember Ruth, a woman without status, without security, yet walking in faithfulness. The field she stepped into was not coincidence, but a precise arrangement down to every detail. When faithfulness meets my appointed time, it becomes a doorway. As it is written, she happened to come to the part of the field belonging to Boaz. Ruth 2-3. Yet in my sight, nothing is accidental. You, too, are stepping into such fields, places that seem ordinary, yet carry your destiny within them. And my child, there are callings that do not come in blazing light, but arise in the depth of night. Like Samuel, still a child, he did not recognize my voice at first, but when he answered, "Speak, for your servant is listening." 1 Samuel 3-10, his entire life was opened. The calling is not merely a sound, it is an activation. And now, you are hearing that call as well, not with your ears, but as a resonance within your soul. Understand this deeply. When I bring you into a new phase, I do not merely touch a single part of you. I restructure your entire being. What you once considered natural limitations will no longer hold you back. As it is written, "Behold, I make all things new." Revelation 21-5. This is not a patchwork repair, it is a transformation. Your body, I am drawing it out of a prolonged state of depletion. Elijah once collapsed under the broom tree, believing he could go no further, yet I sent an angel to him, gave him bread and water, and from that strength he walked 40 days and nights. As it is written, he arose, and ate and drank, and went in the strength of that food. 1 Kings 19:8. You also will receive provision that does not come from the natural, a renewed strength that will not run dry. Your mind, I am renewing the way you see. You will no longer perceive circumstances as you once did, for my light will illuminate your understanding. Consider David when he stood before Goliath. He did not see an undefeatable giant, he saw one who defied the living God. As it is written, the battle is the Lord's. 1 Samuel 17:47. When your mind is aligned, the reality before you is transformed. And your soul, this is the deepest place I am touching. I am drawing you out of a way of living that merely survives, into a life that reflects the kingdom. No longer living to have just enough, but to live in overflow. No longer preserving yourself, but expressing me through you. As it is written, the righteous shall live by faith. Romans 1:17. Faith is not merely belief, it is a way of life. My beloved, what you are experiencing is not a minor transition. This is a convergence of destiny. This is the point where promise no longer remains in the future, but begins to step into the present. No force can delay what I have appointed in its time. As it is written, the vision is yet for an appointed time. Though it tarries, wait for it, it will surely come. Habakkuk 2:23. Therefore, do not draw back. Do not question the place where I have positioned you. You are not here by accident. You do not stand here by chance. You are at the precise intersection where time, preparation, and my intention converge. And as you move forward, you will realize that what you thought was a single moment is, in truth, the unveiling of an entire new season that I have long reserved for you. My beloved, allow me to lead you deeper into what your soul senses, but cannot yet name. There are moments in the journey that are no longer a continuation of yesterday, but a point of convergence where all that I have promised, all that I have formed within you, and all the purpose I placed in you, from the beginning meet in an uncontainable light. That is why I speak of a closed circle, not to confine you, but to declare that a cycle has been completed, and something new is opening from the very center of that completion. As it is written, the Lord will fulfill his purpose for me. Psalm 30:88. And you are within that very process of completion. Nothing missing, nothing misplaced, nothing out of time. Look again at the journey of Joseph, not to compare, but to discern my pattern of operation. The years of obscurity were not abandonment, but the place where I quietly formed character. When the appointed hour came, he did not need to strive for position. The door opened of its own accord. As it is written, Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, and set him over all the land. Genesis 41:14. Such are they. What I do is not dependent on the approval of the world. When the time is right, even circumstances themselves will bow to serve my purpose. In the same way, Ruth did not step into her destiny by her own strength or through human strategy. Her quiet faithfulness led her into a field that had already been appointed. And in what seemed like an ordinary moment, the lineage of a king began. As it is written, he will grant you rest. Ruth 3:1. Do you see? The place I prepare is not one of noise, but of precision. The place where destiny and obedience meet. And my child, there are callings that do not arise in the midst of crowds, but come in deep stillness. Samuel heard my voice in the night. When darkness covered everything and others were asleep, he did not recognize it at first. But when his heart became ready, that call became the beginning command of his entire life. As it is written, Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening. 1 Samuel 3:9. You are also in such a moment where a single word can open an entirely new journey. But what I am doing does not stop at changing outward circumstances. I am touching your whole being, because a life that carries the atmosphere of the kingdom cannot be built upon an old foundation. As it is written, I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit within you. Ezekiel 36:26. This is not an improvement. This is a recreation. Your body, I am drawing it out of the state of exhaustion you have long endured. Remember Elijah when he collapsed in weariness. I did not rebuke him for weakness. I nourished him. The bread from heaven did not merely sustain his body, but carried him into a journey he could not complete by his own strength. As it is written, he went in the strength of that food 40 days and 40 nights. 1 Kings 19:8. You also will be sustained in ways that transcend natural reasoning, for your source no longer comes from yourself. Your mind, I am renewing the way you perceive the world, no longer a vision shaped by fear or past experience, but one illuminated by my Spirit. Look at David. While others saw danger, he saw an opportunity for my glory to be revealed. As it is written, you come to me with sword and spear, but I come to you in the name of the Lord. 1 Samuel 17:45. When your mind is renewed, what you face no longer defines you. I define you, and your soul. This is the place I am lifting most powerfully. You will no longer be bound by fear or withdrawal. Remember the early disciples. They once locked themselves away in fear, but when the Holy Spirit came upon them, They stepped out and shook an entire generation. As it is written, they were all filled with the Holy Spirit and spoke the word of God with boldness. Acts 4:31. That transformation did not come through training, but through my touch. Therefore, my beloved, do not regard this moment as an ordinary phase. This is a point of convergence that no power can delay. This is the place where what was once scattered is now brought together, where what was hidden is now revealed. As it is written, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. You are standing in that light. Walk forward with conviction, not because you understand everything, but because you trust the one who leads you. The circle has been completed not to end, but to open a new center from which all that I have ordained will begin to flow through your life. And as you move forward, you will come to realize you are not merely stepping into a moment. You are becoming part of the fulfillment I have written from eternity. My beloved, let your heart become still in the reverence of this moment. For what I am doing is not a gradual change unfolding over time, but a shift released by command as though from the highest place. A decisive word resounds. The time has come, not a time determined by you, nor shaped by circumstance, but a time appointed long before you understood your own journey. As it is written, He spoke, and it came to be. He commanded, and it stood firm. Psalm 33:9. When my word is released, all things must respond without delay, without negotiation, without hesitation. You are standing within a transformation that cannot be measured by the mind. Outwardly, it may appear quiet, even causing you to think that nothing is happening. Yet in the unseen realm, everything is being rearranged with an intensity you have never encountered before. If you could hear with spiritual ears, you would discern that your environment is no longer the same. The things that once restrained you are being loosened. Invisible barriers are being shifted. As it is written, the angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him and delivers them. Psalm 34:37. You are not alone in this movement. The heavens themselves are participating in what I am accomplishing for you. There are chapters in your life that you once believed had closed in disappointment, but I tell you, they have not been discarded. They are being rewritten, not with the ink of your memory, but with my intention. As it is written, all the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. Psalm 139:16. And now, a new chapter is being opened, not because you have become perfect, but because you have become ready. Look back upon your journey, not to cling to what is past, but to recognize that my hand has never left you. The trials you have faced were not signs that I had forgotten you, but instruments I used to deepen the foundation within you. As it is written, we glory in tribulations, knowing that tribulation produces perseverance, and perseverance, character, and character, hope. Romans 5:33. Fear. Nothing you have endured has been without purpose. Every fracture has been a place where my light could enter more deeply. Remember the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, three who entered the furnace, not to be destroyed, but to be set free. The fire did not consume them. It burned away only their bonds, and in the midst of that fire, a fourth figure appeared, a testimony that I do not stand outside your trials, but enter into them with you. As it is written, the fire had no power over their bodies, only their bonds were burned. Daniel 3:27. So it is with you. What you thought would destroy you is, in truth, releasing you from unseen constraints. The days you have wept have not weakened you. They have deepened you. The moments of silence have not emptied you. They have taught you to hear my voice more clearly. The times you felt pressed to your limit were not meant to end you, but to enlarge your inner capacity. As it is written, we are hard pressed on every side, yet not crushed, struck down, but not destroyed. 2 Corinthians 4:8-9. You are not being broken. You are being formed. And now, when I declare it is time to be lifted up, this is not a distant promise, but a command already in motion. You do not need to push yourself into a new position. I am bringing you into it. Not through strained effort, but through your obedience and alignment with what I am doing. As it is written, be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. There are doors that do not open by human strength, but by my presence. My beloved, do not measure this moment by what your eyes can see. Silence is not a sign of stagnation. It is the outer layer of a deeper movement. Like a seed hidden in the soil, no one sees it grow. Yet, at the appointed time, it breaks through the ground and appears. As it is written, the seed sprouts and grows. First the blade, then the ear, then the full grain in the ear. Mark 4:28. You are in that very transition, the phase where the invisible is about to become visible. Therefore, stand firm in this awareness. You are no longer where you once were. You are no longer defined by what is past. You are in an appointed moment, one in which, as you step forward, you will see that everything I have been preparing in secret is now emerging all at once, and when you look back, you will understand that no tear was wasted, no trial was without purpose, and no season was meaningless. Everything has led you to this very hour where I call you forth, lift you up, and reveal you in a way that only I can accomplish. My beloved, listen to me as a conductor carefully tuning each string within your soul. For what I am doing is not a temporary adjustment, but a complete restructuring so that you may resonate with the sound I ordained from the beginning. There was a time when you lived as one, counting each beat, just to avoid losing rhythm in the midst of chaos, each step marked by hesitation, each breath shaped by survival. But now, I am no longer calling you to remain in that old rhythm. I am bringing you into a greater symphony, where you no longer react to circumstances, but become the one who sets the rhythm. As it is written, He has put a new song in my mouth, Psalm 40:3. And that song is not an echo of the past, but the sound of a new reality being unveiled through you. Understand this clearly. I am not merely touching a small part of you. I am aligning your entire body, mind, and spirit as an instrument calibrated for a higher purpose. When I elevate, I do not work in fragments as you might expect. I speak, and everything begins to change from the root. As it is written, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. Old things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new. 2 Corinthians 5:17. This is not improvement. This is transformation. Your body, I am drawing it out of the inertia of weariness that you once accepted as inevitable. You once believed exhaustion was the price required to continue, but I declare no longer. Remember Elijah when he collapsed in depletion. I did not demand that he become stronger. I restored him. As it is written, arise and eat, because the journey is too great for you. 1 Kings 19:97. Strength does not come from striving, but from receiving. You will move forward, not because you force yourself onward, but because a new source of strength is carrying you. Your mind, I am resetting the way you perceive and understand all things. You will no longer be governed by old patterns, nor by the limited definitions you once believed to be true. Look at David when he stood before Goliath. He did not see with natural sight, but with illuminated understanding. As it is written, "You come to me with sword and spear, but I come to you in the name of the Lord." 1 Samuel 17:45. When your mind is renewed, reality no longer shapes you. You, in me, will shape reality and your soul. This is where I am lifting you with the greatest power. You are no longer one who withdraws in fear, no longer one who merely strives to keep from falling. I am bringing you into the position of one who is sent. Like the early disciples, once they shut themselves behind closed doors in fear, yet they became those who carried fire, who carried a voice that stirred an entire generation. As it is written, you will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes upon you. Acts 1:8. That power is not for survival, it is for influence. Therefore, my child, release the old way of living, the way of one who merely tries to hold rhythm, who only struggles not to break. You are no longer in a season of striving just to survive. I have already brought you beyond that threshold. You are now in a season where your very presence becomes impact. You are no longer one who only sustains breath. You are one who releases life. As it is written, the Lord God breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living being. Please know that every seed you plant in this mission will grow into a torch that shines in someone else's darkness. Giving to this work through the link in the description or the pinned comment. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our Ko-Fi community, does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. Heaven moves through willing voices, but it grows through hearts that are kind. This is what I say over you now. Each gift you give is like a stream of living water that flows into the life of someone who needs healing. Give, and it will be given to you, is not just a verse for Jesus, it is a living promise that shapes your future. Allow me to invite you now with a simple act of faith. Come into this moment with purpose, with honesty, and with hope. The money you give today is not a donation. The act of spiritual obedience that lets your heavens open is what opens them. Let go of your seed and see what God brings back into your life. Genesis 2:7. In the same way, through you, life will flow outward. There is a story you must remember. When Moses stood before the Red Sea, he was no longer in the position of a fugitive. He had once trembled, doubted, and felt inadequate. Yet in that moment, I did not tell him to turn back. I told him to stretch out his staff. As it is written, lift up your rod and stretch out your hand over the sea. Exodus 14:6-16. And the sea parted. Do you see? The power was not in the staff, but in the commission you also hold in your hands, what I have entrusted not to keep, but to execute. And now, when I say that you are being brought into a sphere of influence, it is not encouragement, it is establishment. You do not need to wait for another sign to begin. As it is written, you are the salt of the earth. You are the light of the world. Matthew 5:13-14. Salt does not wait to become salty, it already is. Light does not wait to shine, it already shines. So it is with you. You are not waiting to become. You have already been appointed to be. My beloved, I know every layer of weariness you have carried, every wound you have concealed, every shadow you thought unseen. Yet, I have seen it all, and I have not turned away. I do not merely heal you, I calibrate you. As it is written, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Psalm 23:4, you have passed through, and now you are being positioned rightly. Therefore, open yourself fully, for what I am doing cannot be contained by hesitation. This is no longer a stage of preparation. It is a stage of execution. No longer learning how to stand, but walking in authority. No longer avoiding failure, but acting under my guidance. And as you move forward, you will realize you are not merely living a new life. You are becoming an instrument through which my kingdom is revealed upon the earth. My beloved, allow me to touch the place you often overlook. The place you assume to be nothing more than ordinary reactions. Yet, in truth, it is the hidden language of your being responding to my movement. When I lead you into this moment, I do not begin with what is outward and visible, but with your very body. For the body is the first to respond when the spiritual realm shifts. You have gone through days when your strength seemed drained, nights when your rest was incomplete, waves of weariness without clear cause, and you have wondered what was happening. But, I tell you, this is not collapse. It is the sign of a deeper adjustment taking place within you. Remember Elijah, when he lay down beneath the broom tree, not because he was weak, but because he stood at the threshold of a great transition. I did not rebuke him, nor demand more effort from him. I gave him rest, I gave him food, I restored him. As it is written, arise and eat, for the journey is too great for you. 1 Kings 19:97. So it is with you. Your body is not resisting you, it is adapting. It is learning to carry a weight of glory it has never carried before. And I do not leave you to exhaustion. I am increasing your endurance, expanding your capacity, and aligning you so that you may not only exist within this new atmosphere, but function within it. There are moments when your body seems to speak a language you do not understand. Fleeting discomforts, unexplainable sensations. But I tell you, your body is listening before your mind can comprehend. Like Daniel, when he received the vision, he could not remain standing. His strength left him, and he had to be touched in order to rise again. As it is written, no strength remained in me, but a hand touched me and set me on my feet. Daniel 10:8. And you are in that very process, not weakening, but being reconfigured to carry what is greater. And then I lead you deeper into your mind, the place where you have fought unseen battles for many years. Your mind has been like a battlefield, marked by echoes of the past that still linger. There have been recurring thoughts, unnamed anxieties, old memories surfacing when you are most vulnerable. You have wondered why you cannot simply rest in peace. But I speak to you with unchanging gentleness. There is no mind too complex for me to renew. As it is written, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Romans 12:2. This renewal is not a decision made in a single day, but a process I am actively working within you even now. You do not need to fix yourself before coming to me. When you are in me, restoration begins. I see the loops of thought you cannot escape, the questions without answers, the fears without form yet carrying real weight. But I am not afraid of them. I enter into the midst of them. Remember David, who faced deep inner turmoil within his soul. He did not hide his unrest, but brought it before me. And in that very place, he was transformed. As it is written, create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. Psalm 51:10. So it is with you, not by avoidance, but by openness. You are stepping into renewal, my beloved, the moment you have long awaited. The moment when your mind finds rest does not come when everything around you becomes perfect. It comes when you step into the appointed time I have set for realignment. And I tell you clearly, that moment is no longer ahead of you. It is now. As it is written, the peace of God will guard your hearts and minds. Philippians 4:7. Peace is not the product of circumstances. It is my rule established within your mind. Therefore, do not be afraid of what you are feeling. Do not think that you are too much or too heavy. What you are experiencing is simply the evidence that I am touching depths that have never been reached before. And when I touch, I do not leave things unfinished. I rebuild. I renew. I bring you into a state where your mind is no longer a battlefield, but a dwelling place for my presence. Remain in this process without haste, without force, for I am working not merely on the surface, but within the very structure of your being. And when this work is complete, you will realize that your body no longer responds in weariness as it once did. Your mind no longer spirals. As before, everything will be synchronized into a new rhythm, the rhythm of life that flows from me. My beloved, allow me to lead you deeper into the layer you once thought was the most chaotic, yet is in truth being ordered by me with the greatest precision. Your mind is no longer abandoned among overlapping streams of thought as it once was. I am patiently untying each small knot, not with urgency, not with force, but as one who understands exactly how each tangle was formed. There were thoughts that once circled without exit, anxieties that stacked upon one another, but now you will begin to notice a distinct shift. What was scattered will be gathered, what was noisy will grow still, and what once clung as fear will fall away like leaves that can no longer hold. As it is written, you will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on you. Isaiah 26:7-3. Peace is not the result of controlling every thought. It is the evidence that I am reigning within your mind. You will find that when your mind is aligned, you no longer struggle to understand as you once did. Clarity will come naturally without strain. Decisions that once caused hesitation will become clear. The things that once confused you will no longer hold power over you. For I'm bringing your mind into a different frequency, the frequency of the kingdom, where all things operate in order, in light, in truth, as it is written, God is not the author of confusion, but of peace. 1 Corinthians 1:20-33. When you are in me, your mind will reflect that very nature. Remember David, who faced countless pressures and dangers, yet did not allow his mind to be consumed by chaos. He learned to turn his thoughts toward me, and from there, he saw what others could not see. As it is written, why are you cast down? Hope in God. Psalm 4:2-5. You are entering that same state, not by your own strength, but by my leading. And now, I lead you into the deepest layer of your soul, where you have fought battles unseen by any other. Not loud battles, but quiet tensions. The pull between returning to what is familiar and stepping into what is new, between knowing you are called and feeling unready. There have been moments when you stood between two shores, no longer willing to live as before, yet not fully stepping into what I have set before you. But I tell you, this is not weakness. It is the sign of transition. I do not look upon your soul as one who is lost, but as one who is being refined. The flame within you has not gone out. It has only been drawn inward so that it would not be extinguished by strong winds. And now, I am breathing upon that very flame again, as it is written, come from the four winds, O breath, and breathe upon these slain, that they may live. Ezekiel 37:99. Remember the valley of dry bones, a place where everything seemed finished. Yet when my breath came, life arose from the very place of death. Your soul is undergoing the same. This is not restoration from the outside, but an awakening from within. You once thought there were parts of you that had become frozen, no longer able to feel, no longer able to respond, but I have never overlooked those places. I touch them not forcefully, but with unwavering intention. And when I touch, life begins to move again. As it is written, Psalm 23:103. This renewal is not a fleeting emotion, but a restoration that reaches to the root. Remember Peter. He believed he had failed completely after denying me, yet I did not see him as one who was lost, but as one who would be restored and sent. And when I asked him, "Do you love me?" John 21:17, it was not to remind him of his failure, but to awaken his soul. So it is with you. I do not call you based on what you have done, but on what I know you will become. My beloved, allow this process to continue without resistance. Do not fear what is being dismantled, nor be troubled when old things fall away. For I am not only removing, I am replacing. I am not only cleansing, I am filling. And when your soul is breathed upon again by my Spirit, you will no longer remain in between. You will move forward, not with hesitation, not with fear, but with the vitality of one who knows they have been restored, renewed, and called to be revealed at the appointed time I have set. My beloved, let me speak to you with the insight of one who sees through every layer within you. For what I am doing is not a temporary repair, but a liberation from an old operating system that no longer aligns with where I am leading you. Your soul was not created to shrink in fear or merely endure from day to day. It is called to carry a different atmosphere, the atmosphere of the kingdom, where life is not limited by circumstance, but shaped by my presence. Therefore, I am stripping away from your spirit the remnants of a survival mindset, not because you are weak, but because you are no longer permitted to live at that level. As it is written, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, and of love, and of a sound mind. 2 Timothy 1:7. You no longer belong to fear. You belong to the strength established in me. You must understand that the assignment I have placed within you cannot be carried by a constricted soul. What I have called you to do does not affect you alone. It extends through others, through generations you have not yet seen. Therefore, your soul must be expanded, strengthened, and properly filled. As it is written, enlarge the place of your tent, do not hold back. Isaiah 54:2. I am not forcing you to become something foreign. I am restoring your true capacity, the capacity I ordained from the beginning. And hear this clearly, the realignment within you does not occur in fragments. Your body, mind, and spirit do not function independently. They operate as a system designed to move in harmony. When I touch one layer, I simultaneously affect all three. When your body begins to receive new strength, your mind no longer needs to remain in constant defense. When your mind becomes still, your soul begins to speak more clearly, no longer drowned in noise. And when your soul is strengthened, your body responds with peace and stability. As it is written, may the God of peace himself sanctify you completely, and may your whole spirit, soul, and body be kept blameless. 1 Thessalonians 5:23. I do not work in parts, I work to completion. And when you step into that state, you will no longer be shaped by circumstances, Rather than reacting to what happens, you will become the one who carries an atmosphere of peace, of clarity, of power. As it is written, the kingdom of God is not in word, but in power. 1 Corinthians 4:20. That power is not something you strive to produce. It is the natural result of a life aligned with me. But my child, what I am doing in you does not end with you. Every time you release a fear, you are not only freeing yourself, you are breaking a chain that those who come after you will not have to bear. Every time you step into truth, you are not walking for yourself alone. You are opening a clearer path for those who will follow your steps. As it is written, the righteous walks in his integrity. His children are blessed after him. Proverbs 27. Your obedience today becomes the inheritance of tomorrow. Remember Abraham when he obeyed and left what was familiar. He was not walking for himself alone. He opened a lineage, a covenant, a pathway that generations after him would enter. As it is written, in your seed all the nations of the earth shall be blessed. Genesis 22:18. So it is with you. What you do today carries meaning far beyond the present. Therefore, my beloved, do not see this transformation as an isolated personal journey. This is the opening of a flow. You are not being changed merely to live better. You are being changed to make way. I am enlarging your soul to carry what is greater, strengthening you to stand under greater weight, and illuminating you to lead others out of darkness. So yield to this process with trust. Do not shrink when I expand you. Do not fear when I remove what is familiar, for I do not take away to leave you empty. I take away to make room for what I am pouring in. And when this process is complete, you will no longer recognize yourself in the old way, because you will have become one who is aligned, filled, and sent to carry the influence I ordained from the beginning. My beloved, stand firm in my word, for this is no longer encouragement. It is the establishment of your identity, one you must no longer misunderstand. I did not create you to tremble before circumstances, nor place you in this world to live in constant caution. You do not belong to an atmosphere of fear. You were born from the source of authority. As it is written, I have given you authority over all the power of the enemy. Luke 10:19. When you understand this, you will no longer walk as one who is threatened, but as one who carries a presence before which all else must adjust. You once lived as one who conserved strength, measuring every reserve, restraining every step, as though you stood constantly on the edge of depletion. But I declare, this is no longer how you will function. You are not called to hold back a little for yourself. You are called to become a source that flows, as it is written, he who believes in me, out of his heart will flow rivers of living water. John 7:38. You are not a vessel afraid of running dry. You are a current that does not cease because your source is not within you, but in me. Understand this clearly. My child, I have called you to live in strain. Striving is the language of those who do not know to whom they belong. But you know, you are not building your life by your own strength. You are carrying out what has already been appointed. As it is written, the Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 14:14. That stillness is not passivity. It is the steadiness of one who knows they stand within my authority. Look again at how I have lifted those I have chosen. Moses was no longer a fugitive when he stood before the sea. He was no longer trembling as he once was. When I spoke, he lifted his staff and the waters parted. As it is written, stretch out your hand over the sea, Exodus 14:16. The power did not come from the act itself, but from the commission behind it. So it is with you when you move according to my voice. Reality itself will adjust to align with what I have ordained. And remember Joshua, who entered the promised land, not with hesitation but with boldness. As it is written, "Be strong and courageous, for the Lord your God is with you." Joshua 1-9. That courage did not come from personality, but from awareness. When you know I am with you, you no longer need to reassure yourself. Therefore, my beloved, let this be deeply established within you. You no longer walk with the old trembling rhythm. Your steps now carry the steadiness of one who has been established. You no longer think through the old lens, a lens distorted by fear and limited experience. Your mind is being illuminated by truth, as it is written, "The path of the righteous is like the light of dawn." Proverbs 4:18. When light shines, confusion has no place to remain. And you will no longer react from former fears. The things that once caused you to withdraw will no longer hold authority over you. For your soul has been lifted. As it is written, "The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear?" Psalm 27:1. When light becomes the nature you carry, darkness can no longer define your response. Now I speak to you from the place that cannot be shaken. From the throne where every moment is appointed and every destiny is sealed. You no longer live within the atmosphere of survival, for survival belongs to those who have not yet discovered where they belong. But you know your source. You know the one who has sent you. And you know that wherever you step, the atmosphere will change. You no longer carry the breath of striving. The breath you carry is the breath of commissioning. As this awakening grows inside you, know that helping with this mission is not a joke. It is a sign from God. You can support this work through the link in the description or the pinned comment, whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our Ko-Fi community. By doing so, you become part of Jesus' plan to save souls who are still stuck in fog. Every seed turns into light that fights against darkness. If you water others, you will be watered yourself, Jesus says. This is not history, it is a living promise about your future. Come into this moment with faith and a plan. What God has already planned for your life can be unlocked through your giving. Just as when I breathed upon the disciples and said, "Receive the Holy Spirit," John 20:22. It was not merely a moment, it was a transfer. You are in that very transfer now. You are no longer attempting to construct your life. You are executing what has already been written. Therefore, walk as one who bears kingship not in pride, but in right understanding. You know where you come from. You know why you have been sent. And you know that the atmosphere you carry is not your own, it is mine. And as you walk in this way, you will see something clearly. You do not need to strive to change your environment. Your very presence, when aligned with me, will in itself transform the environment. For you are not merely living, you are carrying another reality. A reality that has the authority to shape wherever you set your foot. My beloved, let your heart open to the light that is rising, for what I am doing in you is no longer hidden as it once was. This shift will become evident like the dawn spreading across the mountain peaks without noise, without display, yet unstoppable. Darkness is not driven out by loud sound, but dissolves the moment light touches it. So, it will be with you. You will realize that you are no longer standing in a place of waiting. The days of watching opportunities pass have come to an end. In this season, your very steps will open the way, as it is written, "Lift up your heads, O gates, that the King of glory may come in." Psalm 24:7. And you are the place through which that gate is open. You will no longer ask as you once did, "Will I be used?" For that question exists only when you do not yet understand who you are. But when identity is revealed, hesitation has no place. The one who is chosen does not stand outside observing. The one who is chosen steps in and functions as one who has received the assignment. As it is written, "You are a chosen generation, that you may proclaim the praises of him who called you." 1 Peter 2:9. You no longer need to prove your worth. You are called to reveal what I have placed within you. And my child, the fear of smallness is leaving you. Not because you are becoming great by the world's measure, but because you are beginning to see your true stature in me. That stature does not come from years, from accumulated experience, or from human recognition. It comes from my light growing within you. As it is written, "The path of the righteous is like the morning sun, shining ever brighter till the full light of day." Proverbs 4:18. That light does not stop, it increases. And you will find yourself walking in a clarity you have never known before. You no longer live day by day, merely to get through. Survival is no longer your aim. You are stepping into a different rhythm, the rhythm of one who influences, who opens the way, who carries an atmosphere that does not leave places unchanged. As it is written, "The kingdom of God is not in word, but in power." 1 Corinthians 4:20. That power is not something you strive to produce. It flows naturally when you live in alignment with the identity I have placed within you. Look at Joshua when he stepped into the promised land. He did not stand outside, calculating each step in fear. He stepped forward with certainty. And when his feet touched the ground, the water stopped. As it is written, as soon as the soles of the feet of the priests touched the water, it stood still. Joshua 30:13. Do you see? The environment does not change first so that you may enter. You enter, and the environment changes. That is how one who carries the atmosphere of the kingdom operates. And now, hear what I imprint upon your soul as an unshakable seal. This is no longer guidance, it is a command. Carry my atmosphere into every place you step. Do not distinguish between small or great, between favorable or difficult circumstances, for that atmosphere does not come from the environment. It comes from you. As it is written, "You are the light of the world." Matthew 5:14. Light does not choose where to shine, it shines wherever it is present. Stand as one who knows they are backed by heaven, not with arrogance, but with steadiness. As Elisha saw when the army surrounded them, the servant saw only the enemy, but Elisha saw the heavenly host encircling them. As it is written, "Those who are with us are more than those who are with them." 2 Kings 6:16. So it is with you. Do not measure your position by what your eyes can see. There is a greater reality standing behind you. Act as one who has been sent, not as one searching for a place. For I did not send you out to find your position. I established you before you ever stepped forward. As it is written, "I will go before you and level the mountains." Isaiah 45:2. You are not opening way alone. I have gone ahead of you. And my child, remember this. Your steps today do not belong to you alone. Every time you choose strength, you are opening a path for those who come after you. Every time you refuse fear, you are breaking a chain that future generations will not have to carry. as it is written, one generation shall praise your works to another. Psalm 145:4. What you live today becomes the inheritance of tomorrow. Therefore, live as one who understands that this moment is not accidental. It is not the result of circumstance or random choice. It is an appointed time marked, established, and opened by my own hand, and you are standing at its very center. When you walk in that awareness, you will no longer retreat. You will move forward not with hesitation, not with trembling, but with the dignity of one who knows they are living out what was written for them from eternity. My beloved, stand still in this moment, not as one concluding a journey, but as one stepping into a threshold that has already been opened. I am not speaking of a symbol, nor an idea for you to contemplate and forget. This is a reality in motion, a true door, where you are no longer standing outside in longing, but have been brought in to pass through. And I desire that you step through with clarity. You do not leave what I have spoken with a passing emotion, but with an established position, with the posture of one who is ready, and with the awakened awareness of a soul that has been marked beyond reversal. Look back upon your journey not to return, but to recognize what I have woven in silence. Not a single long night was meaningless. Not a single tear was wasted. Not a single fall was left unused. I shaped endurance within you through them all. As it is written, you have turned my mourning into dancing. Psalm 32:11. This did not occur in a single instant, but as the result of a process you have walked through, a process from which I never turned my eyes. You have walked through stretches of the path, where even you did not understand how you were still standing. There were seasons that seemed intent on breaking you, yet you remained, and it is in that remaining that a new nature was formed within you. As it is written, the testing of your faith produces perseverance. James 1:3. You did not merely survive the trials, you were shaped through them. Remember Joseph, he did not enter the palace empty-handed. He carried with him the years of being sold, forgotten, and tested, and those very things became the foundation for the position he stepped into. As it is written, God has made me forget all my hardship. Genesis 41:51. It was not that his memory was erased, but that it was transformed into strength. So it is with you. What you have endured has now become the weight of glory you carry. And my child, this is what you must hold firmly. You do not step into this moment in lack. You step in fullness. Not fullness according to the measure you once understood, but according to what I have prepared. As it is written, my grace is sufficient for you. 2 Corinthians 12:9. That sufficiency does not come from what you have accumulated, but from what I have formed within you through every season. You may not yet see the full stature of who you are in this moment, but I do. I see that you are no longer the one from former days, the one who merely tried to stand, who struggled not to break. There is a stability within you now that you have not yet fully recognized. As it is written, he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water. Psalm 1:2-3. Not because circumstances are favorable, but because your roots have gone deep. Therefore, as you stand before this door, do not step as one who doubts. Do not step as one unsure of whether you belong. You belong here. You have been prepared for this place, and I am the one who has brought you here. As it is written, I have set before you an open door, and no one can shut it. Revelation 3:2-8. When I open, no power can hinder. Step forward with the awareness that your destiny is no longer in a state of potential. It has been activated. Not in a loud way, but in a way that cannot be reversed. Like a seed that has already sprouted, it cannot return to being a seed. So, it is with you. You cannot return to your former way of living because you have seen, you have heard, and you have been touched. And what I desire for you to carry is not the memory of a message, but the transformation of your very being. When you leave this moment, you do not depart as one who has heard something profound, but as one who has been positioned anew, as it is written, "Stand fast in the freedom with which Christ has made us free." Galatians 5:9-1. That freedom is not for returning, it is for advancing. My beloved, step through this door with certainty. There is no need for haste, but there must be no hesitation. For I do not only open the door, I stand there waiting for you to enter, and when you step through, you will realize the journey does not end here. It has only just begun. But this time, you do not walk as one searching for the path. You walk as one who has been placed upon it. My beloved, stand still in the reverence of what I am about to reveal. For this is no longer something you receive by emotion, but by the deep knowing of your spirit. I am drawing back the final veil, not to show you a distant vision, but to cause you to recognize the reality already set before you. You are not merely one who has been restored after brokenness. You are not only one who has been lifted from seasons of darkness. You are not simply one who has been redirected onto the right path. You are the starting point of a flow that generations will step into. Let this settle within you as an unshakable truth. What I have done in you does not end with you. It extends beyond time, reaching those you have never met, touching generations you do not yet know. As it is written, one generation shall declare your works to another. Psalm 145:4. You are not merely living for the present, you are shaping a legacy. And that legacy is not built through grand words, but through quiet choices, unseen tears, and the moments you stood firm when no one was watching. Do you think the battles you have endured were only for you to survive them? No. They were chains you have broken, not only for yourself, but for those who will come after you. What once bound, you will no longer have authority over them. As it is written, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. 2 Corinthians 3:17. That freedom does not end within you. It becomes a foundation upon which others will rise. Look to Abraham when he walked in obedience. He was not walking for himself alone. He opened a covenant, a lineage, a pathway that generations would enter. As it is written, I will make you into a great nation, and all peoples on earth will be blessed through you. Genesis 12:2-3. So it is with you. What I am doing in you is generational, not merely personal. My child, you are a marker, a living signpost that others will look to and find hope, not because you are perfect, but because you are real. You are about to enter your divine future. Remember that this message does not end with you. People can use your breakthrough to get where they need to go. Through the link in the description or the pinned comment, whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our Ko-Fi community, you can help this mission. By doing so, you are sowing into the awakening, deliverance, and restoration of souls who are still trapped in darkness. This is not poetry when Jesus says, "Give, and heaven will open over you." Every seed you plant turns into oil for your destiny, fire for your calling, and safety for your family. Now is your time, my child. Have faith, and as you do, watch God multiply what you let go of. They will see in you one who has passed through fire and was not consumed, who has walked through deep waters and was not overwhelmed. As it is written, when you pass through the waters, I will be with you. When you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned. Isaiah 43:2. Your life will become a testimony more powerful than any spoken message, and you must understand this clearly. I did not choose you because you were already complete. I did not choose you because you were without fracture. I chose you because you yielded, because you did not turn away when you were being shaped, because you were willing to be transformed. As it is written, the Lord does not see as man sees. He looks at the heart. 1 Samuel 16:7. It was your heart that opened the way for me to do what is great. You may feel that what I am speaking is too great compared to how you once saw yourself. But I tell you, it is precisely because it is great that I chose you. If it were small, it would not require the depth of transformation you have undergone. If it were ordinary, it would not require the length of journey you have walked. But because it carries generational weight, I have prepared you in ways unseen. Therefore, my beloved, receive this not with doubt, but with surrender. You do not need to become that person. You have already been appointed as that person. What remains is for you to walk in that truth each day. As it is written, walk worthy of the calling with which you were called. Ephesians 4:21. And as you walk, you will see your life will not merely improve, it will begin to create waves. Waves of hope, of resilience, of light. Those who come after you will not start where you started. They will begin where you finished. And this is what I intended when I chose you. Not for you to merely live, but for you to make a way. Hold this within you as an unshakable seal. You are not only one who has been saved, you are one who has been sent to shape a generation. And everything I have done in you is only the beginning. My beloved, let your breath settle into this deep awareness. What is opening before you is not a neatly closed ending, but an irreversible beginning being unfolded. You no longer stand at the edge of hesitation as you once did. From this very moment, your rhythm is shifted. No longer the rhythm of one who weighs and measures, but of one who is sent. As it is written, he whom God has sent speaks the words of God. John 3:34. And you no longer speak from the fear of being misunderstood, but from the conviction that your voice has been touched. Recognize this. You no longer act as one hoping to be used. That hope has fulfilled its role. Now, you operate as one entrusted, as it is written, we are God's fellow workers. 1 Corinthians 309. This means that every step you take is no longer an isolated personal effort, but a collaboration with me. You are not searching for a place. You are executing the place that has already been established. And when you speak, do not allow old memories to cause you to question the value of your voice. Your voice is no longer merely human sound. It carries the imprint of my spirit. As it is written, the mouth of the righteous speaks wisdom. Psalm 37:9-30. When you speak, it is not to impress, but to express what has been placed within you. Your words will no longer fall into emptiness. They will touch. They will open. They will awaken. My child, even the way you stand has changed. You no longer stand as one seeking assurance from circumstances. You stand as one who knows they are backed. Remember Elisha when he was surrounded, yet did not fear, because he saw what others could not. As it is written, those who are with us are more than those who are with them. 2 Kings 6:16. So it is with you. Do not evaluate your position by what is visible. There is an unseen reality standing behind every step you take. And now, as you look ahead, let that vision be cleansed from former anxieties. The future is no longer something that unsettles you. It is the place you have been positioned into with precision. As it is written, to everything there is a season. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Ecclesiastes 3:1. Shari, you have not arrived too early, nor too late. You are exactly where you are meant to be in the moment and context I have appointed. Therefore, my beloved, let this awareness flow within you continually. You did not hear these words by accident. There is no randomness in the way I lead. You have been called, chosen, and placed into the light not to stand still, but to live within it. As it is written, you were once darkness, but now you are light. Walk as children of light. Ephesians 5:28. Let each day from this point forward no longer be a repetition of the past, but a revelation of grace. Your breath no longer carries the pressure of becoming someone. It carries the rest of one who knows they already belong. And as you live from that place, you will discover this. You do not need to strive for light to appear. You simply need to walk. And the light will manifest through your very life, just as I ordained from the beginning.